Court rules the perception as gay could be eligible for asylum. A federal appeals court has ruled that a U.S. immigration board must decide whether non-U.S. citizens who are perceived to be gay or lesbian in their home countries can qualify for asylum in the United States, regardless of their actual sexual orientation. A 3-judge panel of the Ninth Circuit U.S. Court of Appeals has ruled that the U.S. Board of Immigration Appeals erred when it rejected the asylum bid of Rebeca Cristobal Antonio, a Guatemalan national who fled her home country due to threats of violence and persecution stemming from possible anti-gay animus. Antonio applied for asylum in 2014, claiming she feared she would be killed in Guatemala because of her perceived sexual orientation. Antonio says she wore men's clothing to work, which led people to conclude she was gay. She subsequently received death threats, was confronted by an angry mob, and was beaten by members of her own family due to their belief that she was a lesbian. Now, let's just say that she dressed in men's clothing because she worked in the fields, okay? It had nothing to do with her sexual orientation or, or that she wanted to be a male. It was just more comfortable. Now, that being said, she was still persecuted under anti-LGBTQ plus, haters, So she couldn't come here and say, hey, I need asylum because of this. Now, they need to pass this to allow people to do so. People flee their countries all the time from this. I mean, from threats and persecution from their own family, let alone, let's think about the neighbors and the towns and all of that. So this really needs to be, it needs to be law.
There are certain obstacles that is specifically very specific for LGBTQ asylum seekers. For example, a lot of these people go into interviews with officers who are not particularly sympathetic to their sexual orientation, and they would ask very blunt questions. I know that in Britain, for example, they would literally ask, like, if you have any records of you having sex with someone of the same gender in order to prove it.
Right.
So basically, you have to make a sex tape.
Right.
The problem here is that how do you, if you're just, you can't just willy-nilly go out and, have sex with someone and record it and then present it as evidence. The truth is sexual orientation is such a private thing that how is any kind of immigration officer is going to seek concrete proof that prove you are gay? But the Ninth Circuit is doing the right thing here, although I'm afraid that they are going to probably further appeal. I mean, I don't think this administration is going to appeal, but later administration might try to rewrite the rules so that this will not happen again. So,
I think we're in a situation that is partially racially motivated. Also.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we're in a situation. She is dark brown skin. She is poor. She's Latino, and there is a classification in the United States that out of hand, because of various different reasons, reject. If you are in Angola or in the Congo and you're a black woman or a black man who is claiming that they are fearful for their life of the accusation of them being LGBT, whatever the identification of that is, they would have the same difficulty as this woman in Guatemala would have. If the white 36-year-old woman or man in Russia claimed that they were being discriminated against and they were fearful for their life, the reaction of the Russian or the Pole or the Hungarian would be different than the black or the brown or the female.
Glad you set aside, I don't have to.
And it's unfortunate, and that's really a very significant portion of what's at play here. They do not have to prove that they are having sexual intercourse in a homosexual environment to claim this exemption in terms of having emergency aid from the United States via immigration. And the reason why they should not have to prove that is because in this instance, if the woman is fearful for her life because of her clothing style, the ignorance of the people around her are not the standard of whether she's admitted to the United States under this emergency classification.
Yes.
You're moving the bar, and it is unfair and dangerous for this woman whose life is being threatened.
Yes. And moving the goalposts is one of those things that just really angers me. You have to prove something that you're not, and then once you prove it, you're like, oh, then you prove it some more. Right. That logic just kills me.
LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Laura are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out Television Network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire LGBTQ+ community.